Hello there. Once again, Santon from Antonio Bay, and I've just been doing all sorts of reorganizing and sorting and shifting of my collection rooms, how everything is kept. And as you can see, I'm getting prepped for another stellar garage sale. Very excited about that. Did very well last week. Sold probably a long box and a half of comics. It was really good. Got to meet a lot of the local collectors. I thought that was a good way of doing that. However, in all of the stuff I've been doing, moving stuff out of one room and into another, I had one wall that was just like pinned with comic books, and I decided to take it down. I'd heard several complaints from my wife. I don't think she really cared for this wall of comics. Somewhere between them being all stuck all over the walls and the sheer number of, as she put it, boobs looking at me throughout the day, I just decided it was probably time to bring it down and maybe set up something different in a different room, because just reorganizing stuff. So anyway, these are just the comics that were on my wall. And I'm going to start off. I had this cool copy of Whisper number 36 on my wall. Big bold cover. It's just about a lady ninja. I always thought the book was cool. This is Ka-Zar the Savage, issue number 22, but he's gone. So in this issue, it was Shauna the Savage, which I just love. I had a couple copies of this. Thought was great. Just because it's Star Wars, I had Return of the Jedi number 1 stuck to my wall. I had a couple issues of She-Hulk, because I should say, if it's going to be on my wall, I'm going to probably have doubles of it. It's probably going to have a chick on it. And it's also probably going to be low value, because I don't want to damage a book by having it on display like that. So anyway, this being in that category, I had this copy of Celestine just because I just love the colors it brought out. It's teal, it's cheap, it's got a chick, I have multiples. It meets the criteria. Protectors, number 17, just because whenever you have somebody over, it's important to have books that I don't think everybody recognizes. And that's another thing that I try to do. For instance, with Nexus 59 here, not everybody's heard of Nexus. It's not the most well-known comic in the world, and so having something that not everybody knows, I always liked. This issue of Wetworks, I got a whole bunch of them, and I really like the color palette, and I like the paintwork on it. It's the red and purple. Plus, Mother One is looking pretty good there, so. This is a super rough copy of Marvel Team Up number 59. It's got a whole chunk out of the top here, but the colors looked great. It looked good pinned on the wall. I mean, I was just super happy with it. Bishop number 2 from his miniseries. I loved the Bishop miniseries. I absolutely loved it. So, of course, it had to be pinned on my wall, and I had 2 copies. Same way with this. Exodus was one of my favorite X-Men villains for a long time. So, Uncanny X-Men 315. Camelot 3000, just because that's a hot cover. What else are you going to say? That's just a good looking cover. Jaguar number 1, because this is an Impact comic. It's rare. It's not rare. It's just not as widely known, but it's good. It's a book I always really appreciated. It only ran 12 issues. But of course, it was on my wall. Cyberforce meets the criteria. Cheap, chick, duplicate. Same way with Spirit of Tau. And actually, this one I put up on the wall just because it really, really reminds me of a Laura Croft cover on some book I have. And I just thought it looked really great, and it was really plain looking. So, definitely had to have that. I threw this on my wall just because it's a combination of having terrible Liefeld women that don't look like women, and just this like massive, chunky beefcake of a dude, Badrock, on the cover. It's the juxtaposition of the two, and the anatomy's terrible on everybody on the thing. So I had to have that on there just for the sake of Liefeld. For Liefeld! Cyberforce. Another issue, Cyberforce 34. I absolutely love Velocity. I love her character design, her color palette. So any velocity I could get on the wall, I would stick in there. And it meets the 3 criteria. Same way with Team Youngblood, Blood, number 14 with Riptide. Cheap, chick, duplicates. Plaster it on the wall, cover a hole. X-Men Adventures number 1, just because I love this book. I love that series. It was something I always liked having around. It was one of the first X-Men titles I started regularly buying. Nexus number 55 is on my wall, just because Nexus has amazing covers. It always does. Liefeld, much later Liefeld. This is Evangeline number 3. He has so much improved over the years, and I love this series. It meets the 3 criteria. So, Uncanny X-Men number 288, because it's Bishop. Bishop is my favorite X-Man, or was my favorite X-Man, back when he was on the team, back when he was wearing his XSE uniform. XSE uniform. He was cool. They really screwed him up a lot throughout the years. But man, original Bishop, tough to beat. Just freaking awesome. Gen 13, number 14, meets the 3 criteria. Plus, it just happens to be one of my favorite comic book covers of all time. She-Hulk number 1. It's actually not She-Hulk number 1. It's just a cover. Like, the cover fell off of an old comic, and I got this in like a lot of stuff, and I was like, it's just a cover. But if I stick it in a thing, I can pin it on my wall. It looks like She-Hulk number 1 on my wall, so that's why I did it. Loved it. X-Men number 300, Uncanny X-Men. Of course, it's got Bishop on the cover, really awesome. It's got this great chrome thing going on, and I had multiples. And you knew I had Femforce on the wall. I had to have Femforce on the wall. I always have Femforce on the wall. Femforce number 86, number 68, sorry. Femforce number 21. Cheap, duplicates, chicks, works. This one was not so cheap. This one was actually kind of tough to get. All Femforce issues are pretty tough to come by, but these are ones that I had duplicates of, so I felt okay hanging them up. Femforce number 5, of course, was one of my top 5 favorite comic book covers of all time, so of course that's going to be on there. Even though her head is a little bit large, and it looks great. One of my contenders for top favorite comic book covers is Femforce 14. People in Glass Tubes, who doesn't love that? Femforce number 61 and 90, because it features Terror prominently, and same with number 77. They just all looked good, and it helped contribute to the amount of, as my wife says, boobs looking at me throughout the day. But anyway, just thought it was time to pull these off during rearranging. Probably going to go with some different posters and things like that. But I don't know what you guys keep on your walls, or if you do even pin comics to your walls, but I do. If I got duplicates, they look good up there. Put them in a grid pattern, whatever. Looks pretty cool. Anyway, that's my story, and I will catch you guys later.